The cruise ship glided through space like a floating city. Its name was Serenity's Dream, and it was breathtaking. Aboard were 12,000 passengers from 7 different worlds, all enjoying a peaceful vacation among the stars. The ship was a marvel, complete with gardens, restaurants, theaters, and swimming pools. Children laughed and played in the corridors while their parents relaxed on the observation decks, watching distant suns drift by. Captain Zarathil stood on the bridge, his blue skin shimmering under the soft lighting. He was a Vani, a gentle species known for their love of art and music. This was his 20th year commanding civilian starships, and in all that time, he had never lost a single life. To him, space travel should be as safe and beautiful as a lullaby sung among the stars. "Sir, we're entering the neutral zone," said his first officer, a young officer named Cortlan. "All systems are functioning perfectly." Captain Zarathil nodded. The neutral zone was meant to be a sanctuary. No military vessels, no weapons of war. Only trade ships and peaceful travelers. It was a place where every species could pass without fear. "Keep scanning," the captain instructed. "I want to know about every ship in the area." Cortlan worked at his station, eyes scanning the displays. Everything seemed normal. A few cargo ships, a handful of small passenger vessels. Nothing threatening. Nothing to worry about. But he was wrong. The attack came without warning. 12 ships dropped out of hyperspace, surrounding Serenity's Dream like wolves circling a helpless lamb. These ships were dark and menacing, bristling with weapons and armor. Blood-red markings covered their hulls like war paint. "Krex!" someone shouted on the bridge. Captain Zarathil felt his heart plummet. The Krex Syndicate. Pirates, slavers, butchers. They took what they wanted and destroyed what they couldn't use. No one who fell into their hands was ever seen again. "Raise shields," the captain barked. "Send a distress call. Tell everyone what's happening." The Krex ships opened fire. Serenity's Dream shuddered violently under the assault. The ship wasn't built for war. Its shields were designed to protect against meteoroids and radiation, not heavy plasma cannons. "Our shields are failing," Cortlan called out, fear trembling in his voice. On the passenger decks, panic spread like wildfire. Lights flickered. Alarms blared. Children screamed for their parents. The once glorious cruise ship was descending into a nightmare. The Krex flagship moved in, twice the size of Serenity's Dream, bristling with guns and sharp angles. It was called the Blood Fong, and it looked every bit the Predator. Twisted metal gave it the appearance of a monstrous beast from the darkest reaches of space. A harsh voice crackled over the communication system. "This is Commander Vasheter of the Krex Syndicate. Surrender now, and some of you may live to see tomorrow. Resist, and all will die." Captain Zarathil looked around his bridge. His crew was terrified, but they were loyal. They would follow his command to the end. He thought of the 12,000 lives under his protection. Families on holiday. Children who had never seen war. Elderly couples who only wanted to watch the stars one last time. "We surrender," he said softly. "Captain," Cortlan whispered, "maybe we can fight." "With what?" Zarathil asked bitterly. "We have no weapons. Our shields are gone. If we resist, they'll slaughter everyone." The Serenity's Dream powered down its engines. The Krex ships closed in, drawn by the scent of helpless prey. Boarding vessels launched from the Blood Fong. Soon armed Krex raiders would be swarming the hulls of the cruise ship. But Cortlan wasn't done yet. While the captain negotiated with the enemy, the young officer's hands flew across his console. Quietly, he was broadcasting a distress signal on every frequency he could reach. The message was clear, urgent, and desperate. "This is the cruise ship Serenity's Dream. We are under attack by Krex pirates. 12,000 passengers on board. We need help. Please, anyone who can hear this, we need help." The signal shot out into space, racing at the speed of light. It reached the nearest Galactic Council station, but their ships were 3 days away. "Too far. Too late," Still, the signal didn't stop. It bounced off communication satellites and relay towers. It echoed across star systems like ripples in water. Most who heard it couldn't help. The cracks were too strong, the neutral zone too distant from any military outpost. But far away, on a small monitoring station at the edge of human space, a lone officer caught the transmission. Lieutenant Jake Morrison leaned forward, listening. And humanity heard the call. Lieutenant Jake Morrison was working the night shift, alone in the communications room. The usual hum of space traffic filled his ears. Cargo ships reporting their positions, passenger vessels requesting landing permission. Routine. Boring. Then he heard something different. The signal was faint and broken, but the message was unmistakable. A cruise ship with 12,000 people on board was under attack. The Kreks had them. Time was running out. Jake bolted from his station and sprinted to his commander's office. Commander Lisa Parker was sitting at her desk, buried in reports, sipping coffee that had gone cold hours ago. She looked up as Jake burst in. "Commander, we've got a situation," Jake said, out of breath. "I picked up a distress call from the neutral zone. Kreks pirates have attacked a cruise ship, 12,000 civilians on board." Lisa Parker immediately set her coffee down. She had served in the military for over 15 years. She knew exactly what the Kreks did to their victims. "How far away are they?" she asked. "About 6 hours if we push the engines to max," Jake replied. Lisa's mind raced. The nearest Galactic Council ships were days away. By the time they arrived, it would be too late. Those 12,000 passengers would be dead, or worse. Enslaved, sold to black market arenas, tortured for sport. But she knew of one ship that might be able to help. A ship that, officially, didn't exist. A ship that went where others wouldn't. That did what others couldn't. She pulled out a secure comms device and entered a code known to only a few. After a brief pause, a voice answered. "This is Captain Carter." "We have a situation," Lisa said. "Kreks pirates have taken a cruise ship, 12,000 civilians aboard. Can you help?" There was a long silence. Then, finally, "Send me the coordinates. We're on our way." The line went dead. Jake stared at her, eyes wide. "Commander, what ship was that?" Lisa gave him a tight, grim smile. Not one of joy but of knowing. A predator's smile. "That," she said, "was retribution. And the Kreks just made the worst mistake of their lives." The ship that responded to Commander Parker's call was like nothing else in the galaxy. Retribution looked wrong, unnatural. Part of it was clearly human-made. Sleek metal, clean lines, precise construction. But other parts weren't. Alien components from dozens of species had been fused into the hull, creating something wholly new and deeply unsettling. Captain Ben Carter stood at the center of the bridge, reading the incoming distress message. He was tall, with gray-streaked hair and scarred hands. His eyes were weary, eyes that had seen too much war, too much death, but they still held a flicker of compassion for the innocent. "How long to reach them?" he asked. Chief Engineer Amy Rodriguez looked up from her console. She was small, fast, and brilliant, surrounded by a mix of alien tech and human systems that logically shouldn't work together. But somehow did. 5 hours, she said, if I push the engines past the safety limits. But I can't guarantee they won't blow. "Do it," Carter said without hesitation. Amy nodded and got to work. Retribution's engines were anything but standard. Years ago, Carter's crew had found the wreck of an alien warship drifting in deep space. They hadn't reported it. Instead, they salvaged what they could, and the technology had made their ship faster, stronger, and deadlier than anything else in human space. At the weapons station sat Danny Webb. Quiet, focused. His hands danced over the controls, steady and precise. The ship's arsenal, like everything else on board, was a hybrid of alien ingenuity and human engineering, designed to erase threats. "Weapons ready, Captain," Danny said. "All systems operational." In the medbay, Dr. Kate Williams was already preparing for casualties. Once a physician on Earth, She now treated injuries from species she'd never even heard of before joining Carter's crew. "Medical bay ready," she reported. "We've got supplies for both human and non-human injuries." The last member of the bridge team was Ryan Hayes, the tactical officer. Young, sharp, and calculating, his mind worked like a machine, able to spot patterns and predict movements in the chaos of battle. "I've analyzed the situation, Captain," Ryan said. 12 Krex ships, 1 civilian cruiser. The pirates will keep most of their vessels close to their prize. He trailed off, the rest of his plan forming in his head. Captain Carter didn't need to hear it all. He knew one thing: retribution was going in. And nothing would stop them. "They won't expect an attack," Ryan said. "What about their reputation?" Carter asked. "The Krex are supposed to be tough fighters." Ryan gave a cold smile, the kind that didn't reach his eyes. "They prey on merchant ships and unarmed civilians. When was the last time they fought someone who shot back?" Carter nodded grimly. Like most pirate syndicates, the Krex were bullies. They only struck when they held the upper hand, avoiding real battles with military vessels. But Retribution wasn't a military ship. It was something else entirely. The ship altered course, engines roaring as Amy pushed them past their limits. Space blurred around them as they raced toward the neutral zone, toward 12,000 innocent lives on the edge of horror. "Tell me about the enemy crew," Carter said to Ryan. "Who are we dealing with?" Ryan brought up data on his screen. "Commander Vashdistar leads them. He's smart, cruel, been raiding for over 15 years. His crew follows him because he keeps them alive and makes them rich." "And the ships?" Carter asked. "Standard Krex models. Fast and well-armed, but nowhere near our level in terms of tech. They rely on fear and surprise. They're not used to fighting anyone with better weapons, or a crew that fights back." Carter walked to the front of the bridge, staring out at the stars. Somewhere out there, 12,000 people were facing death, or worse. The Galactic Council would arrive too late. Local forces were too far away. Only Retribution could get there in time. "Captain," Amy called from her station. "I'm getting unusual readings from the alien parts of the engine. They're working harder than usual." "Is that bad?" Carter asked. Amy hesitated. "I'm not sure. The alien tech doesn't behave like anything we've built. I don't really understand how it works. But one thing's certain, we're going faster than we should be able to." Retribution wasn't just patched together from salvage. Over the years, Carter and his crew had discovered something strange. Some of the alien technology responded to them, almost as if it were alive. When they needed speed, the ship gave it. When they needed strength, it delivered. "How much does the rest of the galaxy know about us?" Carter asked. "Not much," Ryan replied. "Officially, we don't exist. The Galactic Council has heard rumors, stories about a human ghost ship that appears whenever pirates target civilians. Survivors call us a myth. Hallucination. They're too afraid to admit what really happened." Carter smiled. That was exactly how he wanted it. At the weapons station, Danny spoke up. "I've been thinking about how to handle 12 ships at once." "Go ahead," Carter said. "The Krex expect a fair fight. Military ships follow protocols, announce themselves, demand surrender, obey rules of engagement. But we're not military. We don't follow those rules." Carter nodded again. Retribution had never flown a government banner. They fought their own way. "Dr. Williams," Carter said, "are you prepared for what we might find on that cruise ship?" Kate looked up from her medical supplies. "I've seen what the Krex do to prisoners, Captain. I know it won't be pretty. And you're all still willing to go through with this?" Carter asked, looking around the bridge. Amy glanced up from her console. "Those are innocent people, Captain. Families, children. They didn't do anything to deserve this." Danny nodded. "The Krex made it personal when they chose to target civilians." Ryan turned from his display. "The galaxy needs to be reminded. There are lines you don't cross." Dr. Williams set down her scanner. "I became a doctor to save lives. Doesn't matter if they're human or alien. Carter felt pride rise in his chest. These weren't soldiers following orders. They were volunteers, people who had chosen to stand up when no one else would. Each of them had lost something to pirates or slavers. Each of them had decided someone needed to be the answer when evil struck. 4 hours until we reached the Serenity's dream, Amy reported. Good, Carter said. He turned to face his crew. When we arrive, the Kreks are going to learn something new. They think humans are just another weak species to exploit. He paused, voice firm. They're about to find out how wrong they are. Retribution tore through the void at impossible speed, a phantom of vengeance streaking toward its destination. Behind them, the stars shimmered in peaceful silence. Ahead, a battle loomed, one that would forever change how the galaxy saw humanity. Aboard the cruise ship Serenity's Dream, the corridors had turned into a nightmare. Kreks warriors marched through the halls with weapons raised, herding passengers like livestock. Their armor was jagged and black, adorned with cruel spikes. Their faces were hidden behind masks, grotesque things that made them look like demons dragged from the darkest corners of the mind. In the center of the chaos, Captain Zarathil sat in a stolen command chair, watching the suffering unfold like entertainment. Captain Zarathil sat on the bridge, but he was no longer in control. Krek's soldiers stood behind him, watching his every move. His blue skin had paled, drained of color by fear and anger. Through the ship's communication system, the screams of terrified passengers echoed relentlessly. Please, Zarathil begged the Krek's commander who now held the bridge. These are innocent people, families with children. They've done nothing wrong. The Krek's commander laughed, a harsh sound like metal scraping against stone. Wrong, he said coldly. They were born weak. That's crime enough. On the passenger decks, the Kreks were ruthlessly sorting people into groups. The strong would be sold as slaves to work in mines and factories. The young would be sent to fight in brutal pits for entertainment. The old and sick were cast out into the void, thrown into space to die. In one corner, a human family huddled together. The father held his young daughter tightly, while the mother tried to soothe their frightened teenage son. They had been on their first vacation, visiting the outer colonies, and now they didn't know if they would live to see another day. "Daddy, I'm scared," the little girl whispered. "I know, sweetheart," her father replied, voice trembling. "But we have to be brave." Nearby, an elderly Saurian couple clutched each other's hands. They had been married for 60 years and had saved for this one trip among the stars. The Kreks would probably kill them. They were too old to be of use. But not everyone had given up hope. In the lower decks, a secret gathering of crew members met quietly. They were led by Grixto, the ship's security chief, a Saran, a species known for their strength and honor. His green scales shimmered and his eyes burned with anger. "We cannot let this happen," he whispered. "These people trusted us to keep them safe." "But what can we do?" one of the engineers asked. "We have no weapons. The Kreks have taken control of everything." Grixto considered for a moment. "We know this ship better than they do. We can move through the maintenance tunnels. We can sabotage their control." A human crew member named Tony spoke up. "The Kreks are using our own systems against us. If we can reach the computer core, maybe we can shut down their access." "That's suicide," another crew member said. "They'll kill us all if we try." "They're going to kill us anyway," Tony replied firmly. "At least this way we fight back." Grixto nodded. "We may not save everyone, but maybe we can save some." Meanwhile, in the cargo holds, the Kreks were loading their new prizes onto ships. Crates filled with valuables, rich passengers who could be ransomed, rare artifacts from a dozen worlds. Commander Vashdastar walked among his loot like a king surveying his kingdom. He was tall for a Kreks, his face and arms covered with scars, each one a testament to a battle won, an enemy defeated. "How many?" he asked his second-in-command. 12,000 passengers and crew," the other Kreks answered. "Maybe 8,000 worth keeping. The rest can be disposed of." Excellent, Vashtistar said with a cruel smile. This raid will make us rich for years. It will send a message to the galaxy. No one is safe from the Krex syndicate. But Vashtistar did not know his message was about to be answered. Far from the captured cruise ship, Retribution raced through space. Captain Carter stood on the bridge, watching the stars streak past. His crew moved with quiet focus, each preparing for the battle ahead. 1 hour until we reach them, Amy reported from the engine station. The alien technology is still functioning perfectly. Better than perfectly, Amy added. What do you mean? Carter asked. It's like the ship wants to get there as much as we do, Amy said. The engines are giving us more power than they should. Ryan looked up from his tactical station. Captain, I've been studying the Krex formation. Their main ship surrounds the cruise liner. Patrol ships move in wide circles around the area. How do we get close without being detected? Carter asked. The Krex aren't expecting an attack, Ryan said. They think they're safe in the neutral zone. Their patrols are looking for council vessels, not for something like us. Danny turned from his weapons console. Captain, I have an idea. What if we don't try to hide? Explain, Carter said. The Krex know about human ships. They've fought merchant vessels, maybe some light military craft. But they've never seen anything like us. You want to scare them? Carter asked. I want to confuse them, Danny said. When they scan us, they'll see human. We'll mix our technology with things they don't recognize, Danny said. They won't know what we are or what we can do. And while they're trying to figure us out, Carter interrupted. We hit them hard and fast. Ryan nodded. Take out their patrol ships before they can warn the main fleet. Dr. Williams looked up from her medical station, concerned. Captain, what about the passengers on the cruise ship? If we start a battle, they could get hurt. Carter's voice was steady. If we don't start a battle, they'll be dead or enslaved. At least this way they have a chance. The Retribution dropped out of hyperspace at the edge of the battle zone. Immediately, the ship's sensors swept the area. The Serenity's Dream sat trapped in the center of a circle of Krex vessels, like a wounded animal surrounded by wolves. 12 Krex ships, just like the intelligence said, Ryan reported. The flagship is the Blood Fong, that's Vashtistar's ship, Carter said grimly. I know that name. He's the one who destroyed the colony on New Hope. The crew of the Retribution remembered New Hope well, a peaceful farming world with 10,000 colonists. The Krex had attacked without warning, killing everyone they couldn't sell. Carter and his crew had arrived too late to save anyone. Not this time, Amy said quietly. Definitely not this time, Danny agreed. The first Krex patrol ship spotted them and sent a challenge. Unknown vessel, identify yourself. You are entering a restricted area. Carter picked up the communicator. His voice calm and cold. This is Captain Carter of the Retribution. You have one chance to release the passengers and surrender. Silence. Then the Krex patrol ship laughed. One human ship against the entire Krex fleet. Are you insane? The alien voice taunted. Probably, Carter replied. But you're about to find out what that means. The Retribution surged toward the Krex formation. Weapons powered up. Shields activated. The alien technology embedded in its hull began to glow with energy. Aboard the Serenity's Dream, Captain Zarathil listened to the exchange, hope flickering in his heart. Someone had come to help. Someone was willing to fight for his passengers. But as he looked at the 12 Krex warships surrounding his ship, he wondered if even this mysterious human vessel could save them all. The first Krex patrol ship never knew what hit it. One moment it was laughing at the lone human vessel. The next moment it was gone. No explosion, no fire. Just empty space where a warship had been seconds before. Commander Vashtistar stared at his screens, confused. What happened to Patrol Ship 7? I don't know, sir, the communications officer replied. They just disappeared. Ships don't just disappear. Vashtistar growled. Find them. Before his crew could react, another patrol ship vanished. This time, the sensors caught a brief glimpse, a shadow moving between the stars. Something fast and deadly that struck without warning. All ships, battle positions, Vashtistar ordered. The Krek's fleet began to spread out, hunting for their invisible enemy. Their sensors swept the space, searching for the human ship. But the Retribution was playing a different game. Captain Carter watched from his bridge as his crew worked their deadly magic. Amy had rerouted power through the alien systems, making their ship nearly invisible to most sensors. Danny fired weapons the Kreks had never seen before. Ryan coordinated their movements like a deadly dance. Third patrol ship is in position, Ryan reported quietly. Take it, Carter said. The Retribution appeared out of nowhere behind the Krek's vessel. Danny's weapons fired once. The enemy ship split in half, its crew dead before they could scream. That's 3 down, Danny said. 9 to go. But the Kreks were learning. They began working together, covering each other's backs. When the Retribution appeared to attack one ship, 2 others would fire at the spot where it had been. They're getting smarter, Ryan observed. Good, Carter replied. Let them think they have a chance. The battle shifted. Instead of hiding completely, the Retribution began to show itself more, appearing, firing at a ship, then vanishing before the return fire could hit. Each time, it damaged or destroyed another Krek's vessel. Commander Vashtistar grew angry and scared. He had fought hundreds of battles but never faced an enemy like this. The human ship moved like nothing he had ever seen. It fought like a nightmare come to life. How are they doing this? He demanded. Unknown, sir, his tactical officer replied. Their technology is unlike anything in our databases, the tactical officer reported. It's just one ship. Vashtistar shouted in disbelief. We have 9 ships left. Surround it. Destroy it. The remaining Krek's vessels closed in, trying to trap the Retribution. But Captain Carter had been waiting for this moment. Now we show them what we really are, he said. The Retribution stopped running. Instead, it charged straight into the heart of the Krek's formation. All its weapons powered up at once. The alien technology embedded in its hull glowed brighter and brighter. Amy pushed the engines beyond their limits, accelerating faster than physics should allow. Danny unleashed everything they had. Missiles, energy beams, and weapons without names streaked in every direction. 3 Krek's ships were destroyed in the first 10 seconds. 2 more were crippled and left drifting. The remaining 4 scattered, desperately trying to escape the seemingly impossible human ship. Impossible, Vashtistar whispered. How can one ship do this? But the Retribution wasn't done. It pursued the fleeing Krek's vessels one by one. Each battle was short and brutal. The human ship was faster, stronger, and deadlier than anything the pirates had ever faced. Soon, only the flagship Blood Fong remained. Vashtistar stood on his bridge, staring at the human ship that had just destroyed his entire fleet. His hands trembled with rage and fear. Around him, his crew waited silently for orders. Sir, should we run? His pilot asked. No, Vashtistar growled. If we run, we'll spend the rest of our lives looking over our shoulders. Every pirate in the galaxy will laugh at us. We fight. The Blood Fong was larger and heavily armed compared to the Retribution. It had been Vashtistar's home for 15 years. He knew every weapon, every system, every trick it could perform. The 2 ships faced each other in space like gunfighters in an old story. Around them floated the wreckage of the Krek's fleet. In the distance, the Serenity's Dream waited, watching to see who would win. This is your last chance, Captain Carter's voice came over the communication channel. Surrender now, and I might let you live. Vashtistar laughed coldly. I am Commander Vashtistar of the CRE Syndicate. I have conquered 100 worlds. I do not surrender to anyone. Your choice, Carter replied. The battle between the 2 ships was different from the rest. This time, both sides knew they were fighting for their lives. The Blood Fong fired everything it had. Missiles and energy beams lit up space like fireworks. But the Retribution danced through the attacks, its alien technology making it faster and more agile than any ship should be. When it fired back, its weapons sliced through the Krek's armor like paper. Danny worked his weapons console with precision, targeting the Blood Fong's engines and weapon systems. Amy rerouted power to shields and weapons. Ryan calculated firing solutions and predicted enemy movements. Dr. Williams readied for casualties, knowing this fight would be the hardest yet. The Blood Fong shook as the Retribution's weapons struck their marks. Explosions rocked the pirate ship. Smoke filled the corridors. But Vashtistar refused to give up. "More power to weapons," he ordered. "Ram them if you have to." The Blood Fong charged like an angry beast. For a moment, it seemed the pirates might win through sheer determination. But Captain Carter had one last surprise. "Danny, use the special weapon," he said. Danny smiled and pressed a button few had ever seen before. The alien technology in the Retribution's hull began to glow with a strange, eerie light. Energy built up in ways human science couldn't explain. A beam of pure destruction shot out from the human ship. It struck the Blood Fong dead center, tearing through it like lightning through a tree. The pirate flagship broke apart, its hull splitting open to reveal twisted corridors inside. Vashtistar had just enough time to realize he had lost before his ship exploded around him. The battle was over. 11 Krek's ships were destroyed. Only debris and silence remained where the pirate fleet had once been. Aboard the Serenity's Dream, Captain Zarathil and his passengers watched in awe. They had been saved by a single human ship that destroyed an entire pirate fleet. "How is this possible?" Zarathil whispered. The Retribution moved closer to the cruise ship. Captain Carter's voice came over the communication system again, but this time it was gentle and kind. "This is Captain Carter. The threat is over. You are safe now." Tears ran down Captain Zarathil's blue face. His passengers were crying too, but now their tears were of joy and relief. Dr. Williams prepared to beam over to the cruise ship to help treat the wounded. Amy began checking their systems to make sure they could get home safely. Danny powered down the weapons that had just saved 12,000 lives. Ryan looked out at the debris field, the remains of the Krek's fleet. "Do you think they got the message?" he asked. Captain Carter nodded. "They got it. And so will every other pirate who thinks about attacking innocent people." The Retribution had done more than win a battle. It had sent a clear message across the galaxy. Humans were not just another species to be conquered. They were something far more dangerous. The answer to every predator's nightmare. Dr. Kate Williams beamed aboard the Serenity's Dream with her medical team. What she found broke her heart. Families huddled together, still shaking with fear. Children cried for parents who might never come home. The elderly sat quietly in corners, their eyes empty with shock. But they were alive, all 12,000 of them. "Medical emergency in Section 7, came a voice over the ship's communication system. Kate hurried through the corridors, her equipment ready. She found a group of passengers who had been hurt trying to hide from the Krek's soldiers. A human woman held her injured son. "Please help him," she begged. The pirates had hurt his arm when they took his father away. "Where is your husband now?" Kate asked as she began treating the boy's broken arm. "The ship's crew rescued him," the woman said through tears. "They fought back. They saved as many as they could." Kate smiled. Even in the darkest moments, some people chose to fight for what was right. On the bridge of the Serenity's Dream, Captain Zarathil tried to grasp what had happened. The human ship destroyed an entire Krek's fleet in less than an hour. It should have been impossible. "Captain Carter," Zarathil said over the communication link. "I don't know how to thank you. You saved everyone." "No thanks needed," Carter replied. "We just did what was right." "But how? How did one ship defeat so many?" There was a pause, then Carter spoke again. "Sometimes the galaxy forgets that humans come from a dangerous world. We grew up fighting for survival. When someone threatens innocent people, we remember who we really are. Zarathul looked out at the debris field where the Krex fleet had been. He was beginning to understand that humans were not like other species. They were something unique and terrifying when pushed too far. Amy Rodriguez worked with the cruise ship's engineers to repair their damaged systems. The attack had broken many things, but Amy's knowledge of both human and alien technology made the repairs possible. "Your ship is amazing," one of the alien engineers told her. "How do you make so many different technologies work together?" Amy smiled. "Humans are good at taking things apart and putting them back together in new ways. We see possibilities others miss." Ryan Hayes helped coordinate the rescue of passengers still trapped in damaged sections. Tony, a human crew member who had helped organize the resistance, worked alongside him. "Your people are brave," Ryan told Tony. "Fighting back with no weapons took real courage." "We couldn't just let them hurt innocent people," Tony replied. "Someone had to try." Meanwhile, Danny Webb made sure all the Krex soldiers on the cruise ship were captured or eliminated. Some had tried to hide. Others took hostages. But none escaped. The last group of Krex had barricaded themselves in one of the ship's restaurants. They held 20 passengers hostage and demanded safe passage off the ship. "Let us go or they die," the Krex leader shouted. Danny and a team from the Retribution surrounded the restaurant. But instead of attacking, Danny did something unexpected. He walked in alone, unarmed. "You want to leave?" he asked the Krex. "Fine. But the prisoners stay here." The Krex leader laughed. "You're outnumbered, human. We have 20 hostages." "Look outside," Danny said calmly. The Krex looked through the restaurant windows and saw the debris field where their fleet had been. Their faces went pale beneath their masks. "That was your entire fleet," Danny continued. 12 ships. All destroyed by one human vessel. "Do you really think 20 hostages will save you now?" The Krex soldiers looked at each other. They had heard stories about what humans did to pirates and slavers. Stories that were probably true if this ship was any example. "We surrender," the leader said quietly. Captain Carter stood on the bridge of the Retribution, watching his crew work to save lives and repair damage. This was why they did what they did. Not for glory or money, but for moments like this when good defeated evil. Captain Ryan reported, "I'm getting communication signals from across the galaxy. News of what happened here is spreading fast." "What are they saying?" "The Galactic Council wants to know who we are and why we're not under their command," Carter said. "Several pirate groups are canceling planned raids. And the survivors from the Serenity's Dream are telling everyone about the human ship that saved them." Carter nodded. This was exactly what he hoped for. Fear was a weapon and it worked both ways. If pirates were afraid, fewer innocent people would suffer. Hours later, the Serenity's Dream was ready to continue its journey. The passengers were safe, the crew reunited, and the ship systems working again. Captain Zarathul tried one last time to thank the humans who had saved them. "Captain Carter, how can we repay you?" "Anything you need, just ask." "Just remember what happened here," Carter replied. "Tell people that humans protect those who cannot protect themselves. Tell them that some lines should never be crossed." "I will," Zarathul promised. "The galaxy will know what you did for us." The Retribution began to move away from the cruise ship, but before it could leave, a new signal came in. Another distress call from a different part of the galaxy. Captain Ryan reported, "It's a mining colony. Pirates are attacking. 3,000 civilians need help." Carter looked at his crew. Amy was tired but ready. Danny was checking his weapons again. Kate was restocking her medical supplies. Ryan was already plotting a course. "Well," Carter said, "those people need help. Pirates need to learn they can't do whatever they want," Amy said. "People are hurt and scared," Kate added simply. "It's what we do," Ryan finished. Carter smiled. His crew understood their mission. They weren't official heroes or government agents. They were something the galaxy needed but had never asked for. They were the answer to every innocent person's prayer, and every criminal's nightmare. "Set course for the mining colony," he ordered. The Retribution turned away from the Serenity's dream and disappeared into hyperspace. Behind them, 12,000 grateful passengers continued their journey home, carrying stories of the mysterious human ship that had saved them across the galaxy. The news spread. Pirates heard about the destroyed Krex fleet and began to worry. Innocent travelers felt a little safer, knowing someone was watching. The Galactic Council debated what to do about this unofficial human warship. But Captain Carter and his crew didn't care about politics or recognition. Somewhere in the darkness between the stars, evil people were hurting innocents, and as long as that was true, the Retribution would be there to stop them. The ghost ship sailed on through space, carrying its message to anyone who would listen. Humans were not just another species in the galaxy. They were the guardians others never knew they needed. They were the promise that justice would always find a way. And they were just getting started.